Hey everyone, welcome back. Spooky Stories with Michelle, Spooky Reddit Reads. So today, episode 54, I'm going with, I had a couple of suggestions when I posted last night, and the suggestions were all different, but we're going to go with the first suggestion right now to start, which is a UFO related story. So I found a good one last night. I have other ones, but, I couldn't resist looking up some new ones. So, hope you guys like this. It is titled My UFO Encounter That Messes With My Head. It's posted on a subreddit about 2 years ago. I do want to add, this story, the way they typed it up, has an incredible amount of bad language, swearing. So, I am not going to be reading all of that. So, if I stumble here and there, it is probably because I'm trying to correct that a little bit, so sometimes it's hard on the fly. So bear with me. Here we go. I've told a few friends and maybe half believe me, but here it goes. Guess I'll start off by saying I've never had any hallucinations or seen anything that someone standing next to me couldn't verify. I believe there are so many planets in the universe that there has to be life out there somewhere. Not sure I believe in it being able to send organic beings light years through space to distant bodies, but I guess robots and AI may be able to. I guess I consider myself a skeptic, but the one night I had an experience I can't easily rationally explain and still kind of struggle with. It's weird having everything but one thing in your life make logical sense. I was driving my van north up the 101 in California through the redwoods and forest on my way to Humboldt through Mendocino about 6 years ago. It was probably around 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was basically the only car on the road besides a passing random car coming in other direction every 15 minutes or so. I was totally alone, and it was basically pitch black aside from my headlights. There aren't any buildings or towns really for a huge chunk on this route. The road going through this part winds back and forth through some kind of tight turns. As I was approaching this one turn, I saw a super bright light up ahead around the corner. It was much brighter than headlights, and it lit up a huge area up ahead, so I assumed it may be one of those bright lights they put by rest stops along that road. As I turned around the sharp corner, the road straightened out in front of me, and I saw it in front of me, about an eighth of a mile, or like maybe 2 football fields in front of me, about 100 feet up in the air, a perfectly white sphere that looked maybe 20 feet wide. Everything around me strangely illuminated in this extremely bright, perfectly white light. The trees along either side of the road were visible as if it was daylight. Long black shadows stretched along the ground behind the trees, all pointing towards the sphere of light in front of me. It was brighter and illuminated more of my surroundings than one single light source I had ever seen in my life. There was no glare to it, though. I was looking directly at it, and it didn't hurt my eyes in the slightest. It was just so white, almost like looking at a piece of paper. It was like someone had forgotten or randomly placed an omnidirectional light source into the environment, like an early 3D rendering program, if that makes sense. I squinted my eyes at it to try and figure out what I was looking at. Was I approaching some super bright light source along the road that just looked confusing for a second, like one of those tall LED pole things that they have at rest stops? Was a super bright meteor breaking up in the sky and just coming directly at me instead of across the sky? I drove straight for about 45 entire seconds, and the light was still there, and it was clearly only a few hundred feet in front of me, and only about 80 to 120-ish feet up in the air, perfectly still. I was going about 55 and slowly started slowing down after the 20 seconds after I first saw it. When I realized it was right in front of me and not something I was approaching or getting closer to, I got confused. I never seemed to get any closer to the nearby thing, nor any further away as it changed speed. It seemed to match mine perfectly, and that I find really creepy when I think back on it. After about 45 seconds, it suddenly shoots over the horizon to my 2 o'clock. It accelerated to some crazy speed instantly and took about a single second to disappear out of sight into the distance, leaving me once again in pitch darkness aside from my headlights. I kept driving and trying to puzzle out what it was that I just saw. I wasn't feeling scared or excited, really, just completely confused and kind of bewildered. I kept going north up the 101 for a few minutes, making twists and turns through the forest. Then maybe 10 minutes later, it came back. Guys, I hate to do this to you, but I have to do this one as a 2-part because I tried and I ran out of time. So it is a very long one. So this is your part 1, and please hit all the buttons, hit the repost, and I'm going to get started on part 2 right after this. Thank you.